The birthday balloons were pink and gold, tied to the mailbox at the end of the driveway, swaying gently in the afternoon breeze. Inside the house, music played, children laughed, and the smell of chocolate cake drifted through every room. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also, tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? But on the back porch, away from all the noise and color and joy, 11-year-old Maya sat in her wheelchair, alone, watching the other kids run through the yard like she was invisible. She had learned over the past 2 years since the accident that she often was. Not because people were cruel, not always, but because they didn't know what to say, and so they said nothing. They looked away. They moved on. And Maya, who had once loved running faster than anyone in her class, who had once cartwheeled across every patch of grass she ever found, sat still and quiet, and tried very hard not to let the tears come. It was her birthday. She didn't want to cry on her birthday. Her mother had tried. She had invited the whole class, decorated the house beautifully, ordered Maya's favorite cake, and stood by the door smiling like everything was fine. But the children who came were her classmates, not really her friends, not anymore, and they had drifted toward each other and away. From the girl in the wheelchair, without even meaning to, Maya held her cup of lemonade in both hands and looked out at the garden and tried to remember what it felt like to run. That was when she heard the gate open. A man walked in, tall, with kind eyes and tired edges around them. The look of someone who was doing his best every single day. He was holding the hand of a little girl, who couldn't have been more than 6 years old, with 2 pigtails and a gap where her front tooth used to be, and the most fearless expression Maya had ever seen on a child that small. They were strangers. Maya had never seen them before. The man looked around, a little uncertain, and Maya realized he must have had the wrong address, or perhaps he was a neighbor who had heard the party and wasn't sure if he was welcome. But before he could say anything, before he could hesitate or turn around, his daughter pulled her hand free and walked straight across the yard, through the other children, past the games and the noise, directly to Maya. She stopped right in front of the wheelchair, tilted her head to one side and asked one question. "Can I sit with you? Everyone else already has a friend." Maya stared at her. In that single sentence, this tiny stranger had done something none of Maya's classmates had managed all afternoon. She had not looked at the wheelchair first. She had not stumbled over her words or looked away or spoken too loudly or too carefully the way adults sometimes did. She had simply seen a girl sitting alone and decided that was something she could fix. "Yeah," Maya said, and her voice came out a little rough. "You can sit with me." The little girl, whose name turned out to be Lily, climbed up onto the porch step beside the wheelchair, making herself exactly level with Maya, and said, "I'm Lily. My dad and me were walking by and I saw the balloons. I love balloons. Do you love balloons?" And just like that, they were talking. Lily's father, whose name was Daniel, had come around the side of the porch, apologizing quietly to Maya's mother for the intrusion, explaining they were new to the neighborhood. But Maya's mother had tears in her eyes, and she said, "Please, please stay." And Daniel had looked over at the porch where his daughter was making. Maya laughed for the first time that afternoon, and he nodded and said, "Of course." The party changed after that. It changed because Lily had no idea she was doing anything remarkable. She dragged Maya into every game she could figure out how to adapt. She appointed herself the official rule changer, loudly announcing adjusted versions of tag and treasure hunt that made sure Maya's wheelchair was never a reason to be left out, but was instead, in Lily's creative 6-year-old logic, a superpower. "She has wheels," Lily told the other children with complete authority. "That means she's faster. Those are the rules." The other kids, uncertain at first, followed Lily's lead the way children often follow the most confident person in the room regardless of age. Daniel sat with Maya's mother on the porch steps, and they talked the way 2 people talk when they are both a little lonely and a little tired, and suddenly find themselves in the company of someone who understands that. When the cake came out and everyone sang happy birthday, Maya didn't try to hide her tears this time. They were a different kind. Lily sat beside her and sang the loudest, completely off-key, waving her fork in the air like a conductor. After the candles were blown out, Lily leaned over and whispered very seriously, "I think we should be best friends. I already decided." Maya looked at this small, fearless, magnificent girl and thought that sometimes the universe sends you exactly what you need in the most unexpected shape. "Yeah," she said again, smiling now, really smiling. "I think so too." One question, that was all it took. Not a grand gesture, not a speech, not a perfectly chosen word. Just a child who saw someone sitting alone and decided that was not how things should be, and did something about it. Kindness doesn't always arrive with fanfare. Sometimes it comes through a gate with pigtails and a missing front tooth and asks if it can sit with you, and everything changes. If this story touched your heart, please show your love and support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel Kindness True Stories, where we bring you real and moving stories that remind us all of the goodness that still exists in this world. Your support means everything and helps us keep spreading kindness, one story at a time.